Hello everyone. I want to welcome you to Tales from the Field. I'd like to introduce Tom Dowd. Tom is a longtime restaurateur here in Chicago. So Tom, a little bit about yourself, please.
So I've been in the industry for about 30 years, Steve. Started off, cut my teeth in New York, in some of the nicer houses in New York. Moved to San Diego, opened a steakhouse out there. I've been with Fado for the last 10 years, and that's pretty much where we are now.
Tom, tell me how much more complex the on-premise business has gotten in the 5 years, and why do you think that is?
So craft beer obviously has had an enormous impact on our business specifically. The lion's share of our business is done through draft beer and bottled beer. That's changed. That's changed a lot. I mean, our blue ribbon item is pint of Guinness, and we do that as well as it can be done, I think. So it's always going to be that way for us. But we're seeing different habits in our customer base and how they drink. Instead of tying one on and drinking draft beer all night long, they seem to be drinking an awful lot less, and they seem to be moving more towards liquor. That'd be the biggest change I've seen in the last 5 years.
Tom, you deal today with a younger group of customers. Can you talk about what that means and what you've had to do to evolve to serve those customers well?
Yeah, I'm not sure if we deal with a younger group of customers than has been historically the case. I think the customers just sort of ebb at that age through our business. What's happened is I've gotten older, and the generation has changed. And as an older individual learning to deal with 24, 25, and 26-year-olds, it's been a learn for me. I've taken a couple of courses. I've taken a course at a learning and wellness center here in Chicago and one online. And they're different. They're different than the clientele that I'm used to dealing with, to be honest and frank. I think they're better people. They volunteer at a higher rate than we ever have. But they're demanding, and they need to have their individual needs met every single time. And they're so fickle that if you miss once, I think you're losing them forever.
Tom, you made a comment to me earlier that I think is really important. You talked about the difference between service and hospitality. Can you elaborate on that and perhaps how that impacts that group?
Absolutely. So we put an emphasis on hospitality. We have a pretty rigorous service training system that everybody goes through, whether you're a bartender, a food owner, or a server here in Fado. And I think our ethos has always been that service is what we do and hospitality is how we make you feel. And I think that's something that we hang our hat on. I mean, you can have a conversation with someone, if it lacks sincerity and a genuine nature, it's a waste of time. And we put a lot of emphasis on who we hire, not based on their credentials or based on their experience, but based on a vibe that we get from them, to be honest with you, Steve, and that happens instantly at the point of an interview. It's very important to us.
So Tom, before we begin this interview, you were talking about the fact that you travel and you spend a lot of time observing and learning. Can you talk about how information and curiosity to improve helps you to be as successful as you are? Because clearly Fado has done an exceptional job within the marketplace.
Well, yeah. So for me, we had a conversation about how I was upset that somebody was so good when I was in New York. There's a chain called McGettigan's who did a fantastic job when I was there, and their server checked some boxes that I've been trying to get checked here at our Fado Chicago location for a long time, and they did it seamlessly and effortlessly. And it sort of bums you out when you see somebody who you think might be doing something better than you. But our director of operations, his name is Eric Peterson, and this hospitality piece is something that's really passionate for him. And he sends an email out to us, to all the GMs at the start of every week, explaining to us that if your servers are passionate about something, if you're passionate about something, your servers and your bartenders will be passionate about the same thing. And I think some of the remarks he makes is, if you're on the floor doing refills and filling waters, your servers will be on the floor doing refills and filling waters. If you're pre-bussing tables, your servers will be on the floor pre-bussing tables. And when he's in market, when he's actually in the pub, that's actually what he spends his time at. And I think that really feeds into the service being what we do versus the hospitality and how we make people feel. And it's not just our customers, it's also our staff and how we make them feel. And like, what we're asking them to do is not beneath us, so it can't be beneath them. I think that's really important to us here at Fado.
Tom, if you had your crystal ball and you were to look out over the next 2 years, what do you see changing in the industry?
You know, that's a really great question, and we try really hard to stay relevant, to stay not just contemporary, but to stay relevant to our market. We experienced a change about 3.5 years ago when it came to whiskey specifically. We have a really good reputation for whiskey. We have a great whiskey portfolio. We know our whiskey. We can speak intelligently about it, not just the management staff, but the bartenders and the servers as well. And we have programs in place where we allow the servers to taste any whiskey with any customer behind the bar without even asking. So they can taste our highest end whiskey with any customer on the floor. And while the trend may be beyond me to see, I think draft beer it came and went and came and stayed. Whiskey came and stayed, and I think it's going to stay more. And I think the evolution of whiskey cocktails might be the one thing where we're primed to be germane to the market for the next 10 years. And I think it might be the one thing that's going to stick with us.
Interesting insights. Tom, based on that, you've been around, you've seen a lot. What is the one piece of advice that you would offer to your peers in the marketplace?
Consistency. Consistency in how you train, consistency in how you what your expectations are, and consistency in reward. I don't like to say punishment, but absolutely consistency in reward. I mean, we need to be focused on each of these individuals that come and work for us, because they'll in turn be focused on who come to us. I think it was Richard Branson who said the most important people in his industry aren't his customers, they're his employees, because they make their customers feel the way they do. I completely disagree with him. I think the most important people in the industry are our customers, and being aware of what their expectations are is critical to longevity and success, and arming our staff with the tools that they need to be armed with so that they can deliver that for us is important.
Tom, thanks for your time.
Cool.
Tom is with Fado Irish Pubs, one of the leaders in the field. So when you're in Chicago, please visit Fado and look him up.